Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Ramsey with the Empire Life podcast, and today we are with Eric Fajardo. Did I say your name correct?
Yes, you did.
Yes, cool. And we interview entrepreneurs and founders from all over the planet. We're a conscious tech company helping entrepreneurs to launch their online empires. And today, again, we are with Eric Fajardo. He's the co-founder of Leave Normal Behind. They're an amazing community. I have so much fun tuning into their shows, and I'll hand it over to him to intro himself a little bit more.
Thank you so much, Allison, for that intro. Great, kind words from you. Hello to everyone on the podcast. I'm really happy to be here and to share some stuff with you in this 2018. Before I start, just a little bit about me. I'm 22 years old. I'm actually a senior at NJIT, finishing up my school studying innovation and entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur for about 3 or 4 years. I don't like to say entrepreneur, but business owner, running Leave Normal Behind with my brother and being a part of different ventures like the fidget spinners and different apps like Quickie, which is a mobile application that you can FaceTime with celebrities, where you're able to ask your celebrity your favorite question. So I've worked on a lot of cool projects, worked with a lot of cool people, and I'm excited to be here and help you guys build your tech empire.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. So I want to dive right in. That you mentioned that you're working with your brother. Can you go into a little bit details on what that's like to work, either because we have a lot of our tribe listening that they may work with their significant other or somebody that they love deeply and care about. What is that like?
It's amazing because you're able to create something with people you really care for. And at the end of the day, there's nothing thicker than blood. And that's really what it comes down to when you're starting business with family. Like that's what you're getting into. Like there's going to be fights, there's going to be altercations, there's going to be things said. But you need to understand that when it comes down to it, we started this company for a reason. And that can't get into the way of anyone's personal agendas or anyone's sensitivities. Like it will arise, but we're really good at not like breaking the energy. So for instance, like a really good example, a lot of families get into arguments over not the biggest things, but it will bring up an argument and people will get really mad and people will be shouting, pointing fingers, and then there's always that one person who leaves the room, and that one person who leaves the room, they break the energy. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And once they leave the room, it actually is making a bigger scar and a bigger impact than anyone realizes, because nothing was really resolved. Like they're still feeling a little bit iffy about it. The other one's feeling iffy about it. So what we like to do is like, no, like you can't leave. Like we're settling this, closing this energy, even if like you need to force yourself to say it. Because even when you force yourself to say it, after you say it, you get over it. It's like one of those psychological things. So we really keep that in the forefront of our minds, where it's just like, we're here for a reason. Our indifferences can't get into the way for our bigger and greater vision, because it's even bigger than us. Like that's what we set forward. That's like what we signed. That's like why we, wear Leave Normal Behind on our chest. And then it's a real actionable thing. And if like you're struggling where you guys can't recoup from relationships, something that you might need to look for is not letting people leave in the middle of arguments and letting them stay there and really feel uncomfortable. So that's where the growth happens.
I love that. So that I understand what you're saying, because of your bigger vision, that helps you guys to keep your commitment
to what we're doing.
to
And
what
it's
you're
like, because they're normally, just short-term things. It's like, just like little snippets and little arguments, little like not jabs per se, but just someone might be going through something, because you have lives too. That's like really what it comes down to. Like I'm still in school dealing with a lot of things, as well as building a business. Rob's graduated. He's like full-time, really getting after it. There's things that arise that he might just be like, don't use school as an excuse, and I'm just like, dude, I'm taking 6 classes, or things like that. And then like it might be heated where I'm just like, damn, he doesn't really see where I'm coming from, and he might be thinking the same thing. But really understanding that it's just like, all right, well, if this is our reality, how are we going to come together and overcome this? And like it was really built and like developed from our parents, like just such deep, rich character. Like you don't turn your back on family. Family's all you got. Like, it's really been ingrained in us since we were kids. We played on multiple sports teams together. So we've understood how to work together and like where our strengths lie. So we have a really good yin and yang. Just like in corporations, there's like a lot of people who are like forward facing, and then there's people who are like inward facing. So Rob's like really forward facing, big vision, meeting with high level people, is really articulate, can write, read. Not to say that I can't, but it's not my strength. I'm more better at managerial stuff, focusing on the business, focusing on the community, building up our people, making sure that I'm like in touch with our culture, so that the opportunities that Rob brings, we can actually benefit from, because like we have a good organization behind,
Mm-hmm.
Rob
Yeah.
as our trailblazer. So
You're
we've been
gonna
able to
take
implement
that. You're gonna take it and run with it.
that.
What what is
Exactly. And make
what
sure
is
things get
brought
done.
in, and nurture those relationships. Yeah, and
100%.
that totally. I understand exactly what you mean, and that leads me into the next question of, let's say, as entrepreneurs or founders and co-founders, we tend to take more risk even on a
Hmm.
daily basis than a lot of people do, like in
Right.
a 9 to 5, and sometimes those risks make for like the next $1 million deal for the year. Sometimes the
Hmm.
risks though don't always turn out exactly how we anticipate that they
100%.
might. Can you
Yeah.
go into kind of how we can deal with if they don't turn out exactly how we anticipate?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I've had multiple instances where I thought I was going to make $1 million. I thought I had my retirement. I thought I was like, I'm going to be that, 20-year-old at the time who, told their friends that he's going to make millions. I'm still young. I'm still in my 20s. But at the time, like, there's like some big deals at the table. One that I'd like to share is with that Quickie app that I had mentioned earlier. Um, we were looking to do something with a company called, I wouldn't like to say the name just to keep it private, but we're looking to do work with an influencer network that gets high CPI installs. And so this company has over 2,500 influencers and over a reach of 300 million users. And at the time, they were looking to get bought out. So after my brother and I had come back from Australia, where we were out there for 5 months being mentored by our first mentor, Jacob Goff, um, he had asked us to be his US counterparts to an app development studio. So we are like, great, we can now build apps. And now we have this partnership with, at the time it was Kevin Jonas and this gentleman named Steve Forkosh, where we can get high install app downloads. So we're like, great, let's merge these two together and see what happens. So we were negotiating a deal upwards of like $70 to $75 million that we were able to put together because we had a vast network. So something like that, it didn't end up happening. Like, long story short, that's why I'm telling you the story.
Yeah.
When things do happen like that, what I've learned is that it's not like opportunity missed. It's more so, like everyone says, that learning experience that you can like take from the deal. Multiple things, like, and like there's like a greater science to it, I believe, in the universe. Like, there's no way that I would have known even what to do with that $1 million at the time, or like I wasn't even spiritually aligned to like accept that money. I'm also very like into my faith, into like receiving and giving. So I don't think it was the right time for us to do it. So when those things happen, it's like kind of taking it with a grain of salt, water off your shoulders, because what better is it going to do to keep complaining about it than to just move on to the next project? Like, what are you going to do? Like, are you just going to keep complaining? That's just so much more negative stress. Like, the second it happened, I was like, shit, okay, on to the next thing. Like, where am I, like, what's going to be next, or how am I going to bounce back to it? Is it always like so quick and so sudden? No, but you can't get caught up into like those things like, oh my God, it's over. Like, there's nothing else that's going to come my way. There's no more opportunity. I'm never going to get this again. Like, that's like the worst thing that you could possibly do, because then that's exactly what you're attracting. Like, those are your words. So
Yeah, I
keeping a cool
totally
head.
agree. Yeah, keeping a
Mm-hmm.
cool head, staying positive. How do you
Mm-hmm.
stay positive within those moments? Because it's really easy to get super
Yeah,
depressed, and it hits you hard
I
sometimes.
love that. Yeah, I'm a minimalist. I don't think it's that complex. I like to keep things simple, because then that's very simple in my brain. It's just like input, output. I'm stressed. Input, take 3 deep breaths. output, no stress. Literally, I take 3 deep breaths. I'm just like, my body's feeling it, and like, you need to be conscious of it. Like, I'm feeling stressed. My legs, for me, my legs get tense, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, I feel like I'm frozen right now. So I'm like, take some deep breaths, because what we do as humans, it's like low breathing. We're not actually taking the deepness of breath that we can actually take. If you have like 100% breathe bar, we're probably only breathing like 5 to 10% of how much oxygen we can actually take in, because that's all we need to keep living. So our brain is like begging for it. And then that's when like all these bad and negative thoughts come in, that you'll actually lose your cool. So I just like really small life hacks, like taking a deep breath, closing your eyes, just detaching, like just like real centering things, like jump up and down. Sometimes like I'll touch my wrist. This is a grounding bracelet. This is red jade. So for me, it's like, if I look at this, I know exactly why I'm supposed to be looking at this. This is a red jade. I'm supposed to be grounded. There's nothing because that's the energy, that's a force. This is what this bracelet's made for. There's no way that I could ever be anything else wearing this, And then you're like, you're right. I'm not stressed. This is all
Yes.
just like my illusion. This is all things created by myself. And when you can realize that, that's when you're just like, let me go now, create my reality. That's why like I wear this. This is also a fearless ring. It's like
Nice.
koa wood. So for me, I'm like, when I put it on, I'm fearless today. So like these different things that help me get myself in a state of mind. That's really what really helps me keep a cool head and deal with all these different adversities.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing those with us. I love
Yeah, for
those
sure.
hacks, all of them. And
Hmm.
I wanted to go deeper too, and you guys are providing so much value and having nurturing all these deep, profound relationships within
Hmm.
your tribe. Can you give us a story that you had shared with me related to the cowboy hat and everything? Can you give us a story
Yeah.
kind of that led you
Sure.
down that path, or kind of showed you
Uh-huh.
how this is a huge strength of yours?
Hmm. So just like a small introduction, a little bit more about Leave Normal Behind. Its mission is to help people become the best version of themselves by creating things that matter. And I truly believe that's done through accountability. So to reference the story and tell you guys a little bit more about it, when I was in high school, my mom ingrained it into us to always do like clothing drives and different gift drives and Thanksgiving food drives when we were kids. And I just always loved to see how much it meant to other people to have other people out there put together an operation to get them what they need in time for these holidays. It like really put the smile on these people's faces, where I was just like, wow, that is really contagious. These people are like, they really, really care about this jacket I'm about to give them. They are really appreciative of it. And it's actually making a bigger impact of us sharing this experience. So in high school, what we did was, there was a trip called the Appalachian trip, and there was only a specific number of juniors who were allowed to go on the trip, because I'm not sure if it was like bus seating, or like they wanted it to make it like special and exclusive, because you had to apply for it. You had to like write a small essay and like why you wanted to go and do it. I couldn't remember why I would want us to do it. It would obviously be different now than maybe when I was in high school, but very similar of wanting to, serve and be able to help people. So I got accepted, and we went down to Appalachia, Kentucky, one of the poorest places. I think maybe the poorest city in the United States. And when I say that, it was, really dirty. There wasn't houses for like miles on end. It was like one of those towns, like kind of like dirt roads, abandoned houses, people, just not like properly clothed. And you could really tell how much help that they needed. So like what we did as a school was, we filled up 3 to 4 big ShopRite trucks with like food, clothes, toys, because it was right around Christmas. And when we went down there, a father that had came on the trip bought myself and one of my friends a cowboy hat. I've always had a fascination with cowboys. I like to call myself Cowboy Eric sometimes. It's like an alter ego type of person. We like to act and stuff too, so it's like fun. And this is really when it started. So I got this cowboy hat. And I put it on the next day, and I like felt different. You know, I was like wearing a cowboy hat. You know, people were looking at me. I was in high school. It was good. It was like a lot of energy. And when I do things, I buy into it. You know, like I'm all in. You know, if I'm Santa, I'm all in on Santa. You know, if I'm like digging a hole, I'm all in on digging this hole. Like it's gonna be the best damn hole, because if that's what I'm doing in the moment, there's no reason for me to, you know, not be all in, because then it's not benefiting me digging the hole or me thinking about whatever I'm thinking about. So on that day, the people's reaction to me wearing this cowboy hat, skipping around, like showing love, giving hugs to these people in lines, these mothers asking me like, hey, you like my daughter? Like like wanting to like hook me up with their daughters. And like it was like it was just fun. It was all fun playing games. And it just really helped me, you know, build a good foundation of what we wanted to do with Leave No Hole Behind, and like being able to serve, like really being able to like tap into people's geniuses and really being able to uncover and show them and really truly be their authentic self. Was it a little uncomfortable wearing the cowboy hat? Yeah, you know, when you do things like that, it happens, but that's like the growth. So then you're able to then really take that and like invite other people to do it too. And I think that invite is the most beautiful thing that we can do as human beings.
Yeah, I completely agree. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
And also, before we hop off, or before we talk about the gold nuggets, what are
Mm-hmm.
some programs that you guys are offering right now for our tribe listening? How can they get in touch with you
Sweet.
about that?
Yes. So right now we're offering 2 application only programs. So one is our LNB membership, which is $1,000 for the year. You get access to the one LNB summit for members only. You get access to exclusive merch. You also get me as your accountability partner for a full year. You get 4 quarterly calls, as well as access to 52 live streams, a bunch of other dope entrepreneurs becoming the best version of themselves and creating things that matter. And then as well, on top of that, my brother and I partnered up on an influence masterclass where we help you increase your online presence and monetize your personal brand, where we're going to be able to take you and understand who you are as a person and be able to make an extra 25 to 50K off your first and last name, because we all have personal brand and we could all be getting paid for being ourselves. So that's what we would do in the masterclass. So those are the 2 things. And you can reach out to me on Facebook. Just add me and send me a message. Say, hey, I saw you on the Empire podcast, and I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. And I'd love to connect with you and see how we can help.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I love that too. It all goes back to relationships, and when
Yep.
somebody, and Empire Life is also in the L&B community,
Mm-hmm.
and I love you guys, everything you guys are doing, and it leads to that network, that community, that all goes back to relationships and who
Yeah.
knows who, and like, and then what do you know about them, and
Mm-hmm.
referral based, and like you touched on that with the referrals. Would you like to say something more about the referrals?
The referrals for
For anything that's been going on, like how beneficial that's been for you within your network, like.
Yeah, 100%. Like just with, so when you're able to like provide value and create a community, there's people out there that will talk about you a lot, and they'll re-say what you say. So if you're creating good content that helps educate people, the chances are there's other people who are reading it. They might not always comment on it, but they're at least saying your name. And over time that does something, because then once your name is in like this circle and pool of people, when you're communicating with someone, you're getting to know someone, when you're that person that says, oh, hey, do you know Eric Fajardo? And you're like, oh my God, yeah, I do know Eric Fajardo. That's when you know that when the 2 parties who are just meeting each other, that's when you know that you're doing a good job, because there's people who are now meeting each other within your sphere of influence that are talking about your name. And it only stems from providing value, because why else would they even be saying or even talking about you? You know, it has to start with creating good content, you know, finding a good niche. And I'm not saying this happens over time. It took us 18 months, you know, so it's not an overnight process, but we've just gotten really good now at being authentic, communicating, creating content, and being people that are easily like likable. You know, there's just some people that are complete assholes. You're just like, why are you an asshole?
So true.
Like, come
Why
on.
you gotta be an
Like,
asshole? Like.
why you gotta be an asshole? You know, it's just like, you know, and again, like I'm a minimalist. Things are not out of
Yes.
complex, you know, if we get like, I can just go to some golden nuggets, like lead with love.
Yeah, let's go into some gold nuggets to drop to the tribe that they can start utilizing immediately.
Yeah, one of my things would be to develop a deeper relationship, like really understand who you are as a person and be fully authentic. So stay true to your morals and ethics. Don't hinge on what matters to you as a person. So if there's a deal and you got to make a deal with guys in black coats and it doesn't go wrong, don't make a deal with guys in black coats. I don't care if it's $2 million. It's not worth it in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And in the long run, the universe will re-provide that back. The Lord will re-provide that back. Whatever you believe in, I don't care what you believe in. If you do some act like that, you will be rewarded, because what you give into the world, you will directly get out. More golden nuggets, like lead with love, like something that I like to do when people are like, what do you mean lead with love? So who's one who's someone that we all love? If you have siblings, you definitely love your brothers and sisters. I'm sorry if you don't have the greatest relationship with them, but deep down, you have love for your brothers and sisters. If not, you have love for your parents. You know that love. So for me, when I meet new people, when I meet Allison, I'm just like, oh my God, my sister, I love you. Like in my head, you know, I'll say this sometimes, you know, it really depends if it comes out, like it's coming out, I'll be like, my sister, I'm so glad to be on this call with you. It's going to be amazing to chat and get to know one another. And it kind of brings this lightness to where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm talking to someone that I feel comfortable with. It's my sister. And I truly do believe, you know, we're all the Lord's children, that it's right to look at each other like brothers and sisters. And I'm like one of those people where like, I'm business savvy. I think it really comes down to like the business relationships and talking to the right people. Again, we have a really good message. That's why like it's taken so long. This message has been developed over like 2 or 3 years, doing different projects, and then now finally coming down to like our membership and stuff. So it's really about investing into people, and that's something that we learned very early on. You know, the more that you invest in your people, the more you're going to get out of it. So we want to invest in people who are leaving normal behind, 100%. And we need to create that portal for them to be like, I am not normal. I'm leaving that shit behind. And that's who we give our time and attention to, because, you know, time is your most valuable commodity. And before, I want to say one last thing. I would say, I want to say, if you're not becoming the best version of yourself and creating things that matter and you feel that you're stuck, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to ask yourself the question, if money were no object and did not exist, what would you do every single day to keep you happy, satisfied, and fulfilled? And whatever that thing is, reverse engineer how you can do it. That's how we've developed what we want us to do with leaving all behind. And that's the question that we ask ourselves, because money is just something created by the government that has given value. It's free flowing and it's open to all of us. So long as you're providing value, you will receive that. And don't let money stop you from doing what you're doing. So start with it X out of the equation so that you're happy and fulfilled with what you're doing every single day.
Boom.
Drop the mic if I had one.
That was amazing. Yeah. Boom. That's is so true. I completely agree with everything you just said, especially about the money is always flowing and the energy. And when our cup is full, you know, and even also if something was to happen that didn't turn out exactly how you thought it was, let yourself feel that. Right. That's a huge part of it too, is like your cup needs to be full so you can continue to keep giving.
Over and over and over again. And for certain it's going to come, that's like the test of time, you know, that tipping point. Yes. You're going to feel like something bad's going to go wrong, but then you just push right through it. Because I forget what the law is, and I hate not to bring it up at the very end. It's like the law that the things that will go wrong will go. Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law, yeah. Murphy's Law is what it is. So it's like if you know that Murphy's Law there, create a mitigation strategy. Boom, right through there. Boom. You know, prep for it if you know it's gonna happen.
Prep for it. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eric.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been amazing.
Okay, talk to you soon.
You too.